I got so many keys they think I'm valet parking. This is Stryker of Enyo, and this is don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? This is I know that the reference ain't gonna seem to be about like, kilos of cocaine, but I think that's what it is in the original music that I take that from. But yeah, this is this is Mad Max. This is my actual review. Been a long time coming. I've got about 65 hours into the game. I've done most of everything, and now I wanted to share my final thoughts. This is going to be in conjunction with my other two videos, What's It Like Part 1 and Part 2, where I go into more details for Mad Max. But this is the actual review where I kind of sum up everything. If you don't know anything about Mad Max, check out those other two videos. I go into more detail about the combat and whatnot. But this is the real review. So this is my map. This is everything done. Every territory is down to 0. Sure, I've got scavenger locations still. There's like 191 of those. I'm not going to do every single one of those things. Got most of the achievements. I've done a race in every location and whatnot. As you can see, threat level is down to 0 in every territory. This is what the map looks like when you do that. Everything's bought for everything, and you know what? This is a pretty fun game. You know what? This is probably the best Mad Max game you're ever going to see. I don't know how they would do a sequel, simply because they probably poured everything they could into this. I mean, the locations, the design, the environments, everything, and even on PC, I heard this game actually does look really good, especially cranked up all the way. I mean, just the feel of the rust and the sand and whatnot. There's different locations. You have white sands, you have gaseous pockets and whatnot. The explosions, always look pretty cool. Mad Max himself, I guess they added the Australian voice afterward when they were originally showing the game off, because the Mad Max character didn't originally have the Australian accent. So that's what fans were kind of expecting, and it fits. It makes sense. And I mean, the cars and everything look great. Very detailed. The spikes are cool. Like I've said in the What's It Like, this is a perfect representation in a game world of the Mad Max universe. You have characters that have different quirks about them, like, this lady is limited to a wheelchair. There's another guy that's mostly covered in burns, and people end up kind of worshiping him. And there's another character that has different malformations and whatnot, and that's part of their character, and they fit so well. You could see these characters in a world like that. And there's things that you would probably never be able to get to do in a movie. All the sets and whatnot. Like there's one where you got to take down one of the top dogs on top of an oil platform, and it's great. It makes sense, especially in this world of Mad Max, that there would be guys that took over an oil platform. But in movie form, it would probably just cost way too much to do. But here in the game, you can have things like that. You can do oil platforms. You can do oil fields. You can do, underground things at like an airport, and all the sets and everything are much bigger in scope than you're going to probably find, that you can do in a movie, because you'd have to build so much. So it's really great that you can actually see like a fully fleshed out Mad Max world in video game form. And I mean, the rust and the dust in the air and the lighting and everything feels really good, and it's very well done. And some cars have chrome on them, and ultimately that's what you're working toward yourself. Different paint schemes. So this is the Mad Max movie that you're never going to get. They're never going to be able to do this many locations and this stylistic and whatnot when it comes to this character. And sure, the one negative I've always had is the fact that, I heard one developer say that there was no perfect combination of car parts, that, certain combination of parts was going to be good on sand and some were going to be good on asphalt, and ultimately it doesn't seem like it's very true, because as you go from one tire upgrade to the next, your handling increases by 20% each time. So whether it's good on asphalt or whether it's good on sand, it doesn't seem to matter, because you're filling out that handling bar. I mean, all the upgrades, to the car, you kind of need to go in a linear progression. So that's the only kind of negative. I've mentioned it before. I wanted to mention it again. But, I mean, hey, it's still really fun. You still are upgrading your car. It still feels great. It's kind of a slow start. It takes a dozen hours before you start to really pick things up. But, hey, I still give it an 83. Definitely worth trying out.